Hey guys, and welcome to episode 56 of How I Made My First $1 Million. Today we are looking at the numbers from May 1st, 2025, so let's dive in. We start as usual with the balance sheet. So you can see assets coming in at $140,000. That's up $19,000 from last month, which is pretty spectacular. However, we have also incurred a liability of almost the same size. That is a federal tax income obligation. So that's a pretty big bummer. But for the first half or more of last year, 2024, I was a contractor and did not have any income taxes withheld. So gotta pay them now. So anyways, that sucks. Yeah, that sucks. I don't know if I'm going to pay them as soon as possible or if I'm going to intentionally incur penalties and interest and buy Bitcoin instead. We'll see. I could do a little bit of both. So TBD. But this is where we're at right now. So what happened with the assets? Cash down quite significantly. Why was that? Okay, well, I spent $7,000 on buying Bitcoin in an IRA. So I wanted to do that before the tax deadline of April 15th. So I did. That was $7,000. So that's part of the reason my cash is so much lower. Yeah. Gold, silver moved slightly. And yeah, there's a big difference here. 24,000 in Bitcoin. So 7,000, like I just said, was buying more Bitcoin. But then the other 17,000 was price appreciation. So pretty great month for Bitcoin. Kiva unchanged pretty much. So that is what happened there. So basically an accumulation of more Bitcoin, price appreciation of Bitcoin, and the combination of the two made up for this tax liability so that the net worth still went up $500. So it's great that it goes up. Man, taxes will get you. All right, let's look at the chart here. We got another data point, 121,000. You can see assets, the gold or the yellow, bumped up pretty significantly, but now all of a sudden we have a liability. So not ideal, but you could argue that a small amount of prudent debt is prudent. I don't know, but obviously taxes, that's not prudent debt. I don't know what to make of this, but this is just where we're at. 121,000 May of 2022. So 3 years ago, it was lower. Okay, so this is the highest the net worth has been in 3 years. Lovely. If we go back to April, it was higher. Okay, so I guess that's good. All right, income statement. What happened here? Exactly the same because I'm on a fixed salary, and expenses were like ridiculously close to being identical. Did the composition change? Not really. Spent way more on food and beverage. Okay, it's because I traveled. Even though I spent less on travel and adventure. Okay, that's usually because the bulk of this category is actually buying the tickets to go on such an adventure, and those expenses are usually incurred, in the month prior or several months prior. So it looks like travel and adventure went down. Actually, what did I do? So April compared to March. Yeah. As I am hypothesizing, I believe that's what happened. Loans. Didn't donate because I was really tight on cash. As you saw, I only had like $400 left in my account. And instead of buying $5,000 worth of Bitcoin, I bought $7,000 worth of Bitcoin. I also got reimbursed $339 from my company for expenses that I incurred, I think back in January. So finally submitted an expense report and got reimbursed. So I would consider this a negative expense. It's not income. So that's why I have it here. All right. Lovely. Beautiful. Cash flows. What is going on here? Okay, still a positive operating cash flow. That's nice. $2,700, living within my means. But not as large as the previous month. Okay. Yeah, so from employment, it's the same number, and then that extra $339 is that reimbursement I just mentioned. Spent way more on purchases. $1,000 more. That's not too bad. And yeah, investing So spending more on investing, which is nice. And like I said, it's in a Roth IRA. So that is going to be able to grow tax-free, which is very nice because that's $7,000. I've already paid taxes on it. So that should be really nice. That means I can trade in and out of Bitcoin and really leverage that volatility, which I will do with that account. Whereas with my, taxable Bitcoin, you might say, I don't like trading in and out of it because taxes are just way too high. Doesn't make sense. All right, so that's the cash flows updates. As I mentioned, taxes happened. I filed my taxes. I owe $18,000. Not exciting, but gotta do what you gotta do. Bitcoin Roth IRA, I funded with $7,000 before April 15th. Okay, and I often think I don't have enough Bitcoin. So this is something that occurs to me pretty frequently. Is like, yeah, I don't have enough Bitcoin. So when I'm thinking about what to spend money on, whether it's travel and adventure or food and beverage, whatever it is, it's like, yeah, or I could buy Bitcoin, or I could just buy more Bitcoin. So that's one of the main things I'm thinking is I don't have enough Bitcoin. I don't think anybody has enough Bitcoin. But everyone has to make that decision for themselves. I did not lend on Kiva in April, but I do plan to make up for it in May. So once I start building up that cash cushion a little bit more, because of that, retirement contribution, I will continue to lend on Kiva. I did not take any action with my brokerage account, and my plan is to take an options course in June. It was going to be May. We're already in May now. And I'm really focused on work. So work is taking up the overwhelming majority of my time and attention. And so I do not want to start a new project learning all this stuff until my series is launched, basically. So that may even be pushed past June. All right, and I really condensed the remainder here. It just seemed a lot cleaner and easier. Relationship with body, I give myself a 7 out of 10. I spent 9 days in Sedona and the Grand Canyon combined. That was great. Did some hiking. That was the bulk of that trip. And it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. Like we hiked couple different hikes in Sedona. And then in the Grand Canyon, we hiked 21 miles from the South Rim all the way down in across the river and then stopped and had lunch and then turned around and came back. So 21 miles we did in 10 hours. And it was just amazing. I mean, the Grand Canyon is breathtaking on its own, but then, adding in a bunch of hiking and just incredible views from all different angles, it's just like, it's so cool. And, using your body, I guess the way nature intended, is just amazing. It was just really amazing. Great trip. Relationship with others, 8 out of 10. Still working on that 6-part YouTube series. It is going to be called Hidden Secrets of Value. So this is like a first principles approach to what is money, what is currency, what is value, how can you know if something's valuable, how can you create more value, how can you retain the fruits of your labor, all that kind of stuff. And and some personal stories as well. Like why do I even care? Why am I passionate about this? What happened in my life that kind of caused me to go down this road? Yeah, so I think it's going to be great. We don't know when we're going to release it, but we should be done building it all in the month of May, right? By the end of May, we should have it ready to go. Don't know when we're going to release it. Relationship to self, 6 out of 10. I need to meditate. I need to meditate more. Like, I feel like I should be doing this, and I just simply don't sit down and do it. So that's got to change. That's on me, obviously. How am I thinking? How am I feeling? What am I doing? I'm feeling tense but excited about the release of Hidden Secrets of Value. So I really want it to go well. I want the launch to be done well. So one of the worst things that could happen is like we produce a really great series, but then we launch it poorly, and so it flops as a result of a failed launch. So I really want to get that launch right, but the launch feels outside of my control. It's like other people at the company, so that's tricky. Just trying to navigate that. I have also often been thinking, why does $1 million need me? Right? Not why do I need $1 million, but why does $1 million need me? I don't have a good answer yet, but I do think about the question. And finally, I'm going to the Bitcoin Conference 2025 in Las Vegas, May 27th to 29th. I have a whale pass. I'm very excited. So that's, later this month. It's just a few weeks. So that should be pretty awesome. So that's a little bit about how I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, and what I am doing. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next month.